Hi friends of Prairie Vintage, my name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirits, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys finally found me. For those of you guys returning, I'm so blessed to be here, so grateful for all of your support, and I can't wait to get into your reading. You guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today. Before we get into the reading and the pick a pile and the decks we'll be using, just a quick sort of message here. There will be an announcement I'll be making shortly in regards to channel updates and membership. So that should be coming soon. And I do want to thank all of you guys, however you guys have been able to support this channel's growth through all your comments, likes, shares, subscribes, any way that you guys are able to contribute has been absolutely appreciated. And for those of you guys who have been donating on a regular basis, I am so blessed to have you guys contribute to me in a financial way as well. That is absolutely generous of you guys. So thank you so much. And as a thank you to all of you guys, I am running a 25% off all merchandise, all readings at prairievintagejewelry.com. So I will put the information below for the coupon code in order to save 25% off your complete purchase, including readings, and that will run till the end of August. So today's reading, we'll be taking a look at the person on your mind and the person you came here about, and what is the energy between them, and then we'll look at your energy, what's going on with you. So it's a you versus them, or them versus you, however you want to see it. You could flip it around. Okay. It'll be sort of a quick reading, but there will be an extended, and I haven't done that in a while. And there will be extendeds. Okay. But don't feel like you've missed out. If you can't join us for the extended, just be rest assured that Spirit has delivered everything you're needing to know. Okay. There's no need, if you can't go over to the extended financially to do that, then don't feel pressured to do so. Okay, you'll get all the information you'll need from Spirit for this reading. For those of you guys needing a little bit more information or wanting some more insight, we'll definitely be diving into why it is and what's going on beneath the surface of what it is that we're going to read here today. Okay, so I will talk about the extendeds in the actual piles so that we know exactly what will be covered, but let's take a look at the decks we'll be using. So for this reading, we will be using the astrology reference cards. Okay, and we'll also be using the mushroom affirmations for guidance. So like I said, it's a pretty brief reading here using just those two decks, okay, to get an overall feel of you versus your person, kind of like a pulse check. And then, like I said, for those of you guys just wanting to dive in a little deeper, getting some background, we'll do the extended, which I'll also include the information below. So for option one, we have this beautiful stone elephant. Okay, for option number two, we have this carved bug. I think it's a cicada. Cicada, I think they're called. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like a butterfly, but I think it's a cicada. See if you guys could see the light through it. Let's see if I can. So it is fairly dusty. The dust is free, and the turtle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, sit with this energy. I'll put the timestamp below. It's absolutely okay to flip roles, okay, because there'll be two energies that I'll be reading in each pile. or more, whatever pulls through. Okay, so it's up to you to determine who's your energy. And if it doesn't resonate, then go check out another pile. All right, I'll see you at your pick. Gorgeous angels, pile number 1, you guys picked the stone elephant for your reading. We're taking a look at you versus the person on your mind, person you came here about energetically. What is going on? So it's kind of like a pulse check here. Okay, if you're wanting more details, getting to the whys and the whats, okay, and how we got there, we will be doing an extended for this reading. I will include all of the information for the extended readings below, and that way you guys can check that out. Now, if you can't join us there, then just know that you've got all the information you need from Spirit, okay? So those are for you guys who want to have a little bit more information on this person that you came here about. So let's see. For pile number 1, Spirit, clear and concise message for pile 1. Can we get a pile 1 versus the person they came here about? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of this connection. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. And thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. Person A, and for person B, Spirit, for pile 1. For person B. Okay. Person A will be on top, person B will be on the bottom, okay? So I'm not reading reversals. We have Cancer with I feel, and you guys can take a look at all that. I'm not going to read it. Going to be channeling, okay? And we have Libra. And we have the 4th house. Okay, and then for person B, we have Quincunx. And we have opposition. And we have South Node. Okay, gorgeous angels, I'm going to channel this, okay? So person A over here could definitely be a Cancer, Cancer, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus sign, okay? It doesn't have to be, it's mostly the energy that's being channeled through this reading that I'm tapped into or tapping into, okay? So give me a minute, I'll try to keep A and B sort of clear so you know who A is and who B is. How do we do this? Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, beautiful angels, pile number 1. This is very, very challenging. It's like yin yang over here, okay? This is all feels and love, and it's like, it's very emotional, and person A could certainly be really, yeah, like highs and lows, very sensitive, lots of love, okay? A lot of you guys might resonate with A here, but it doesn't have to be so much. I feel like person B is all upside down. Okay, they're all upside down here. Now, why are they upside down? There's a lot that person B is having to work through internally on their own. Nothing to do with person A. There's a lot of conflict and conflicting sort of energies that person B carries within them in general. And so this has to manifest somehow in this connection, because person B, I feel, is very disconnected from themselves, and they are sort of stuck in a way of sort of seeing the world, okay, that might create a lot of conflict because there is a lot of duality. And I feel like person B might really be stuck in the past. And this could be like either dwelling in the past, reliving the past. They need to break away from the past, maybe when they had a certain understanding of themselves, or when they connected to themselves at some point, if they ever did. It's like the extent of that point in time is where this person is sort of at, and life kept evolving. And so the more life evolves and moves forward, this person's disharmony and imbalance is more evident, because let's just say if this person experienced some sort of disappointment or loss or something that created a disconnect within them at, let's say, the age of whatever, a young age, and now they're 40, 50, 60, they're still stuck at that young age whenever this thing happened to them, and they've been trying to cope, but it's an upside down world, because when we're 40, we can't be living like we're 19, you know what I'm saying? So this person is really stuck in a familiar comfort zone and reliving past, and could definitely be that this person is seeing the downside or what could go wrong if they were to trust the future or the present and shift and release. And so there might be a need for control, but also protection, because this person might feel like they're more safe staying where they're at. And so this person could stay in things that aren't really bringing joy to this person's world. And they could definitely be feeling like 4 cups, And so I feel like person B could have definitely rejected person A, not seeing the beauty that person A might be offering, or the cup that person A might be offering, the joy, the happiness. And so person B is still focused on their little world. It's like big fish in a small pond, but it's all an illusion, because they're now sort of having to wake up to the ocean, but they're still looking in the little pond analogy here. And so I feel like person B might create a lot of conflict and a lot of inability here to synchronize or understand person A, because they're disconnected themselves. And so there is no way to be able to go much deeper with person A if they can't get very deep within themselves. Person A, it does feel very much like a family-orientated person. So wanting to feel comfort, wanting to feel security, wanting to be protected, but also wanting to express love and give love. Could be very physically attractive. Certainly could be very physically attracted to person B over here, and is having to find balance. But what's really coming through is person A is on a bigger picture sort of journey here. And this is all about how does A find balance for themselves emotionally as a result of them experiencing this challenging connection. Because I feel like B has showed up in a way that's been very, very discombobulating or very disorientating for person A. And person A might not quite understand. And so person A is really here to learn about their emotions, their inner child, fears, emotional mastery over their feelings, personal expression, speaking honestly about how they're feeling, but not from a place of triggering or subconscious fears and subconscious sort of a need for control or need to attain or to find something that they might see in person B externally. And person A might be definitely developing their psychic awareness and their ability to connect to their emotions on a complete different level than ever before. And so it's all about looking at themselves from a different sort of understanding, because I feel like person A might have had a good reign over their emotions, and maybe they had a very stable sort of structure around them, or they had an idea of what security and stability look like, or what family looks like, or what nurturing connections look like, or something like this. But there's a need for them to understand balanced connections and for them to really sort of go through a lesson of understanding so that they can connect to certain parts of themselves and see certain shadows that are lying in their subconscious that would drive a lot of their emotional imbalances, or the way they handle connection, relationships, intimate relationships specifically. It could be something that has been challenging. And so it's pushing person A to really look at how they communicate, how they act, what they say, what they do, how much they invest energetically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I feel like it's an all around sort of wake upness here. And I feel like person A could certainly have the ability to, and might have in the past, shut people out, become very defensive or emotionally sort of pulled by other people. And so person A could definitely be working through their defenses, how to let people in safely, how to understand what healthy boundaries look like, and not get too overly concerned regarding certain beliefs that they might carry about what they think love should look like, or what it is that they feel that they deserve or they expect, or something like this. Like, to review all of their sort of beliefs and to heal a lot of their traps in their emotions that are making them unregulated here, so that they could find balance and union within self. So this is sort of why these two are sort of brought together here. And I don't feel it is very harmonious at this time, So let's look at the advice. I do feel I'm reading advice for person A, but let's just see, what is the advice? And if you guys resonated with this reading, there will be an extended, which I'll include below, and it will be looking at more in depth as to person B and how they're feeling towards person A specifically, and why it is that this person is sort of in the stage that they're at. And like, is this something that is going to shift anytime soon? Like, what are their intentions? Are they seeing this? Are they understanding this? Are they conscious of this? And person A, maybe more guidance and advice, and a look at, where their blind spots might be, how they're connecting to their emotions, and maybe what they're telling themselves this connection is, So it's mostly just a more in-depth look at these two and the drivers. So Spirit for guidance for pile one. What is the advice and the guidance? Can we get 3 cards for guidance from the mushroom affirmations? And we're having the blue. The blue is all about authentic self-expression. Okay. She's communicating our truth and connecting to our authentic self. So it says blue, Lyratomyces. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Lyratomyces. Discover unknown. Step into the unknown. A new discovery awaits you. So this is learning to trust our intuition, learning to trust spirit. Is certainly person B is going to have to step outside of their comfort zone. But I feel like person A might not trust outside of what they're used to when they hang on to their emotions or what they tell themselves of how they have to connect. And I feel like there's a big need to trust doing things differently in order for there to be new changes, discoveries, revelations, anything new shifting in this connection. It's going to have to take a lot of trust. Okay. So King Oyster with substance. Look for quality and substance in everything you do and the people you choose to let into your life. So person A might be considering, is person B a person that I want in my life right now? Is this someone who is ready to be of quality and of service here and add substance to my life? Or is it going to be someone who is going to be pulling at me emotionally and with this imbalance that might be going on here? You know, and it's like, how do I regulate myself? So person A is definitely learning about this. And then we have the Astro dripping bonnet with ancient. Listen to the elders and work with the ancestors. So this is divinely guided, and this could be healing ancestral wounds for both of these people that go very, very deep. Okay, so inner child wounding, but ancestral wounding that has just been carried on for many generations. So I do feel like there's this dance between these two of having to heal very deep, deep subconscious wounds throughout this connection. And so this is why these two have been brought together. All right, so beautiful angels, if you are resonating with this reading, then like I said, there will be an extended. I'll put all the information below. And if you can't join us there, then trust that you got all the information you need for this reading. And I will see you guys at the next one. All right, bye-bye. Hello, pile number 2. If you guys picked the carved bug, I do believe this is a fluorite stone. And I think it's a cicada bug, but I'm not sure. It looks kind of like a butterfly. So if you guys picked this bug for option number 2, we're taking a look at person on your mind and the energy. It's going to be a pulse check here between you and the person you came here about. Clear and concise message regarding the energy of you two. I'll read it as A versus B. And so you could be either A or B. Okay, you could flip roles, definitely. And if you resonate with this reading, there will be an extended where we'll take a deeper dive as to the feelings of each of these people and see sort of the subconscious layers as to why, what's going on, and all of that. But if you can't join us there, then do trust Spirit will communicate exactly what you're needing to hear throughout this reading. Just for those of you guys who are wanting a little bit more information regarding this person that we're tapping into. Okay, so clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2, Spirit. Please protect me and channel 2, pile 2, as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of this connection and of pile 2. What is going on between them and the person on their mind? Can we take a look at person A? Person A versus person B. Person B. Person B for pile number 2. Okay, let's take a look. We have Earth. And we have the 10th house. I'll hold these up so you guys can read them. Okay, and we have the sign of Gemini. For person B, we have the cardinal sign. And we have the sign of Scorpio. And we have the element of fire. for 2 element signs. So you could be either A or B. Now, the sun, moon, rising sign does not necessarily have to be Gemini or Scorpio energy. Okay, they're interchangeable. It could definitely have a lot of fire or earth placements, but it's the energy that I'm channeling for this reading that will come through with these cards. Okay, so let me sit with this energy before I begin to channel. Okay, so for this is pile 2 for person A. So person A tends to be somebody who might be very focused on the material world at this time. Okay, and it could be because security is important to person A and building something that will stand the test of time. So they could certainly be very much either trying to climb the corporate ladder or just trying to build security, even if it's not through a corporate job. It could be security where they're at, you know, and everyone wants stability, security. But I feel like for person A, this is really about person A being comfortable. Like they really want to be grounded. They really want to build a nest egg. They really want to nest themselves in an area that they can depend on, that they could build and grow. And like I said, like really stand the test of time. I feel like for person A, they might be very sort of fixed. So there is some stubbornness coming through. There is a lot of slower moving type energy, but also like when it comes to taking action, they want to be certain. But I feel like there's a lot going on with their mind. They have a lot of ideas in regards to taking themselves to different places and running scenarios, what ifs. And I do feel like it's also a lot of playing out scenarios. So they might talk a big game, or they could have big sort of ideas going on at the time in regards to what they want from this connection. They could already have their mind set on what it is that is ideal for them long term when it comes to this connection. And yeah, I just feel like this person seems to be somebody who is used to being in control, but maybe also like freezing, because they could definitely freeze if they are not 100% certain on outcome. And I feel like anything could kind of throw them into a fluster here if it's not secure, if it's not moving slow or steady, or like something like this could totally throw them upside down. And I feel like maybe person A might get into like modes where they might say things they don't mean. That's coming through. So if they get too flustered, or if they get anxious, or if they're too overwhelmed with their thoughts, or if a situation sort of throws them for a loop and it's not allowing them to sort of ease into it, I feel like person A might say some things they don't necessarily mean, or they might get very anxious or nervous, and yeah, just they might not know how to engage so much, you know. So for some of you guys, they might shut down. For others of you guys, they might say mean things. For others of you guys, it's like just too confusing. They can't gather their thoughts. But I do feel like there's a materialistic sort of energy coming from person A, meaning it's all about the 3D world, like the future stability, where we live, how we live, what we can build, where we work, and what sort of security we'll have, and that sort of a thing. And they could invest a lot of their time into making sure that this is aligned and it looks right. And there is a lot of like identity wrapped up in this person's energy, meaning they've created some story, some identity of how they want to be perceived, or that they truly believe that they are when they engage in the world. That isn't necessarily this person. It's an identity so that they feel secure. It's a reputation or a way that they can have the illusion of control in their world, because they might not want to let go of control here. Okay, so we'll see if any more comes through. But for person B here, I feel like person B does seem kind of like a firecracker here. They could definitely be somebody here who experiences a lot of highs and lows, very spontaneous, but very emotional and very deep. Also could be somebody here who is highly intuitive, and definitely somebody who might be able to tap into this connection telepathically or through dreams. There's something highly spiritual about person B. Okay, so I mean, you guys are here, so clearly you're fairly spiritual. You guys might be B here, but I feel like there's a lot of like desire that person B has to act on their emotions and to go after what they want. And I feel like there is like person B puts their whole heart and soul into what they do and what they believe in. There's a true depth to person B's feelings and the actions they take. And sometimes they take action without a whole lot of thought, but more of a feel. And so that's the difference between these two. I feel like person A is really about overthinking, making sure it's planned right, making sure that it's going to check all the boxes, and they're going to maintain the image or the social identity they created, and that they're going to have the practical solutions in place and all of this type of stuff. I very much mind. Whereas person B, I feel, is they're going to feel it and then they're going to take action. And so this could lead to hitting a lot of dead ends or hitting a lot of disappointments, or even fiery sort of conversations or arguments. Because person A, like I was saying, might say things that they don't mean. I feel like for some of you guys, that was only coming through. For others, it feels like person A might shut down completely and not say anything. There might be a challenge with communicating when they feel like they're losing control, or that they're the image they're trying to keep might not be under their grasp so much. It's like there's a lot going on mentally that isn't maybe necessarily always being expressed unless they feel 100% sort of certain and safe that it's going to manifest. Whereas I feel like person B is like, I trust it will manifest if I just take action, and I could worry about it sort of later. There's a lot of reactive sort of energy. So if this, I was going to call it the Scorpio person B, if they haven't healed a lot of their subconscious wounding or their emotional body, they could be definitely reacting out of the pain body. Although I'm not seeing a lot of this here. So I do get an intuitive feeling that person B has done a lot of healing and a lot of self-reflecting and a lot of trying to understand what they want that speaks to their soul and their heart, as opposed to maybe the alternative, whatever that might look like. It's like, I want to do what's right for my heart, or I want to do what's in line with, setting a fire under me, like moving me, what inspires me and what drives me. And so I feel like person B is like a loud sort of personality, hard to miss, and very sort of hard to keep up with too when they are sort of on go mode. But I do feel like sometimes person B could certainly get very deep, where they might shut a lot of people out in order to sort of connect with themselves. But they definitely connect with themselves on a very, very, very deep level. And it could be that there's certain ways of engagement that person B has been working through, or is working through, when it comes to being very aware of their emotions and how it might drive certain actions, so that they don't get led astray or misguided in their actions. And I feel like there is a lot of passion and fire towards this connection, specifically towards person A. And I feel like person A might seem like if just on first glance, like maybe they're not interested because they move a lot slower and they have to have 100% certainties and all of this. So there could be a lot of frustration, because person B could be spinning their wheels with like, how is it that person A is feeling? What do they want? Why is nothing happening? And are they investing? And can I trust them? Is this something that is secure? Someone that could be stable, someone that I could depend on, someone that I could build with in some way. And person A definitely is this type of person, but they might not be communicating all that much, because I feel like they have to create that in their world. And I feel like for person A, there's a lot of emphasis on building the illusion of that. And so a lot is spent with the illusion, thinking how it should be, how they should be, what is ideal, what's perfect. And this holds them back from taking chances, or even maybe progressing or taking any sort of moves, and could keep them in procrastinator mode in their minds, and for some of you guys, like I said, all talk, no action, or little action. And so this could be very infuriating in this connection. Whereas there might be, someone very, very slow, stuck in their minds, withholding energy unless they feel it is safe and not revealing of maybe deeper truths that maybe they haven't explored just yet of themselves. And I feel like person A might distract themselves with material things such as work, maybe like keeping themselves busy with certain things that pump up this image of them, this reputation. So they could have like a leadership type role at work, or they could be a father here, they could be a boss, they could be on social media here, definitely could be an earth sign, like I said, or a Gemini. It could be just ruled by Mercury here, because I'm feeling with Earth is Virgo and a Gemini, both ruled by Mercury, which again is this I think energy and this communication. So there's something in regards to communication about thought and action that maybe this person is having to work through. Like, what sort of action are they taking? Is it aligned with their fake identity, or this identity they've created? And are their thoughts keeping them stuck from taking action? And what sort of words are they communicating? Or are they even communicating? Or are they really focused on sort of the ideal scenario before they communicate anything at all? And so person B could definitely be sort of on the outs, or left scratching their head, trying to figure out what's going on with A. And person A could certainly be a part, like I said, of a community, maybe have an established family, a home, or something like this, or be fully committed to their job. I feel like person B might be more likely the type of person who would just, up and leave like their situation if things changed without really deep thought. But if they were really driven and connected to that move being right for them, that would be something that person B would feel inspired to do. I feel like person B might have a very strong temper, and they could get very jealous very easily here. And so I think if there's a lot of secrets or unknown in regards to maybe what A is doing or where this connection is going, person B could, get sort of in their own mind and not just stay in their mind, but get in their own mind so much and trigger themselves to take action, where they might be very, say certain things, do certain things based out of a jealousy or anger, or like obsessing over certain things. There's definitely an obsessive energy coming from person B towards person A. Yeah. And so this is what I'm channeling through. So if you connect with this reading, like I said, there will be an extended where we'll take a look at a deeper dive sort of towards what is A feeling specifically towards B at this time, and what is B feeling towards A, and where's it driven from. So we'll look at a deeper look at the subconscious and sort of the whys and the hows of these two, and, will things change? Or are they just sort of staying stagnant like this? So if you're interested, like I said, I will put the link below. And if you can't join us there, then trust you got all the information you need from this reading. Okay. It is there just for those of you guys who are wanting a little bit more information to dive into, like I said, the whys, So let's take a look at some guidance for pile number 2, Spirit. Can we get 2 more cards of guidance for pile number 2? What is the guidance for pile 2 at this time? All right, so we have split guilt, adapt to your current situation, give yourself what you need, and re-emerge stronger. So maybe there's a period of separation, or it could be that if it's not separation, it's like a point where they're calibrating. Both these people are calibrating to each other. It's like getting to know that just because one might not be, or one person might be slower, like A, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is no longevity or, reliability that they can't build or don't want to build. It's more how they go about this building. And so I think there's a lot of adapting to each other's ways. And I think that person A might be very intimidated by person B because person B just takes action and is fiery, and A could definitely get kind of scared, okay? Like scared as in shut down, not know what to do with all that fire and intensity. There's like a lot of intensity coming from B emotionally and just drive and like action-wise, and all of this fire and intensity could be very, very scary and intimidating for person A, where they might shut down. They might not know what to do with it and sort of freeze or get in their mind about it, read into it. And so the more that B is sort of like this, the more A might, have these internal sort of bouts. And so there's a need to sort of adapt to each other's ways of being. But I do feel like there's an intuitive energy coming through here where there's a mutual feeling on both sides here. Okay, so we'll see what this advice has to say. It says chaga for the mushroom, defense and balance. Find your center and strengthen your core. There you will find the protection you need to not be swayed by external influences. So this balance is definitely all about balance within this relationship, because I feel like this B is go, 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 high energy, and A could be very slow and stuck. And so there needs to be a balance brought into this connection. And I feel there's a defense energy that comes through, because I feel like A could definitely start to defend themselves if they feel the intensity of B, and B could take it personal as like A is shutting them out. And I feel like B might start to get defensive if they sense that A is sort of slower withholding, because they might start to feed into having to guess. What is A sort of dragging their feet about? Why are they taking long? Are they having second guesses here in some way? So, but this, do not be swayed by external influences. I feel is for person A, because I do feel like person A has some identity they've created. Again, I don't know, they're in show business, entertainment. Maybe it's their family, their friends, or the past version of them that, I don't know, had a family or had a marriage or was like, was to do or had a lifestyle, a certain image to upkeep. And so I feel like they're trying to upkeep that in which they believe to be them, either through their own internal dialogue or people around them that are sort of perpetuating this identity and keeping it alive. I don't feel that A understands that they're doing this. And I also feel like A might not realize that they can let that go and really follow their heart rather than just their mind. But it seems very, very much in the material 3D realm right now. Okay, and so then we have the golden teacher. Wow, magic mushroom, introspection. And so it says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It is time to release the potential you have within. So psychedelic mushroom here, that could be a sign for some of you guys. If you or your person do mushrooms here, this could definitely be confirmation that it's your pile. But I feel like there's something very, very deeply intense about this connection that goes beyond these realms. I do feel these two are telepathically connected in spiritual realms. And I do feel like with this introspection, the way these two sort of engage with each other, there is an automatic sort of response to having to go take a look at ourselves. So it's like mirroring, because when we're triggered or when there's an output of energy, we need to look at why, where's this stemming from, what has happened here. And so that takes a lot of introspection, being honest and digging into ourselves. And I feel like this connection is doing this for both parties. And I do feel like it's pushing each of these people out of their comfort zone, but into different realms of like possibility. And I feel like for person A, because they're very 3D and earthly, it's kind of like very matrixy here. It could be that this connection sort of brings them to understanding a different world that they're not used to, you know? And it's like maybe they've avoided sort of connecting to this world or to themselves in that way because they've been very focused on the 3D. And if they don't see it or touch it, it sort of doesn't exist. But now there's this other realm here that's really making them dive in deep. And I do feel like Spirit's talking about, you know, the teacher appearing when the time is ready, about divine timing and being guided. And that this connection might be, well, definitely divinely guided, but both parties might be seeing certain dreams, you know, certain signs, certain numbers. Like there's a lot of this like synchronicity and guidance that's happening, like the right people at the right time. And it's sort of a series of events that's unfolding perfectly in order to guide this connection to sort of come together to find balance. Because I still don't feel like this connection is fully balanced. I feel like one's really yin, one's really yang here, you know? So really masculine, really feminine. And so there's a need to find the masculine, feminine balance of self before the masculine and feminine can come together in a balanced union. And so I feel like this is all about balancing self. Okay, so this is what I have for you guys, pile number 2. If you resonate with this reading, like I said, there will be an extended. I'll put all that information below. And if you drop off here, that's absolutely fine. Don't feel obligated to go there, and trust you got all the information that you need. Support me in other ways. You can like, comment, share this video. And of course, thank you to all of you guys who have been donating on a regular basis. You can go visit my website and take advantage of the promotion right now. If you're interested in any of that stuff or interested in a reading, I love you guys so much, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Pile number 3. You guys picked the turtle here. So let's take a look at your reading. We're looking at the person on your mind and the person you came here about, you versus this person energetically, to kind of get a pulse check of your energy with this person. Okay, you could be person A or person B, because I'll be reading it as A versus B. Okay, and you can switch the roles as you see fit. And if you resonate with this reading, there will be an extended where we'll dive in deeper into the feelings and sort of the whys and subconscious energies, drivers, and whether things will change in the future regarding these two people. Okay, but if you can't join us for the extended, then just trust that you got all the information you need here, okay, for this reading. But I will put all the information down below for those of you guys interested. So we're looking at pile number 3, person A versus person B. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of this connection. Spirit, please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of this connection. Person A versus person B. And what is going on energetically with person A, spirit, and person B? Clear and concise message for pile 3, person B. Thank you so much. Oh, I got 2 there. Okay, so let's take a look. We have Cancer, so I'm not going to read them, but I'll let you guys sort of see them. Okay, never mind my nasty nails. And then we got Gemini. And then we have the planet of Neptune. All right, for person B, we have Capricorn. The sign of Aquarius. And we have Square. And we also have the planet of Pluto. All right, so let me sit here with this energy for A versus B before I begin to channel. Okay. Pile number 3. This is an interesting reading. So for person A, not a whole lot came through. It could as I start to channel, but there's one main sort of driving message here. Person A is all about bringing their heart and their mind into balance here. Okay. It could definitely be that person A might have been really driven by their beliefs, their ideas, and certain understandings that they might have, built their world around. So certain identities and just belief structures and systems that might not necessarily be the greatest support or growth spiritually for person A. And so they might have also had certain experiences in the past that might have created blocks in their emotional body. Okay, so that could mean traumas, need to regulate themselves emotionally, understand what makes them happy, connect to their heart. So they could have definitely been somebody who might have not have understood what unconditional love was about, or even just they might have kept a world separate, like their own sort of stories about what love is or what it looks like or whether it's for them or not, or if they've experienced pain in the past. There's all sorts of like a version of this person that they're reconciling through. So there's a lot of shadow work that's required here in order for the mind to come into heart. And for the heart to be connected to, there has to be transmutation of a lot of trauma and shadow work and this dark energy so that it could turn into light, so that this person isn't just reactive based on past experiences and emotionally sort of driven by their subconscious fears or decisions. So this takes a lot of work, but I do feel like person A could certainly escape, with this connection. There could be a lot of escapism, but if they are grounded, because depending where they're at with the work and with their balance, it's like person A had to work through or is working through getting very grounded, connecting to the spiritual realms, but also what's going on here in the 3D. So it's almost like I'm seeing the triangle, like the Holy Trinity, like I'm seeing like, spirit, mind, and body. And it's really like everything sort of balancing out. It's kind of like coming completely into a full balanced self, coming into union with self. And so I do feel like this person could have been completely thrown off by this connection, emotionally, spiritually. And I do feel like there's a heavy, like, what's it called? Telepathy, dreams, intuition, synchronicities. There's a lot here of like unworldly sort of energy that might be very unstabilizing or very like keeping person A maybe drifting, drifting on daydreams or like fantasy, illusions, dreams, and that sort of thing. And so I feel like person A has been really grounding themselves, but also person A could be an empath and could be having a hard time sort of understanding where their emotions start and where other people sort of start, and finding a fine line like between boundaries, self, and connecting to the 3D in a way that is functioning and finding balance between the 3D and the 5D. And this might take some full awareness, and then some working through and some consistent effort to sort of work through getting grounded, but also, being very compassionate about self, because I do feel like there's a lot of stuff coming to the surface that maybe person A might have buried in regards to feelings. And so they could be feeling for the very first time very deep in their emotional body, places where they might have blocked or they might have not have been feeling before. So I feel like this connection is really opening up and cracking open person A's heart. Also, I feel like person A's creative abilities are really at an all-time high, and maybe even their psychic abilities too. There's something very dreamlike and very creative as well, but it could be very ungrounding if person A doesn't find a way to stabilize or find an outlet to let out this energy and sort of make sense of it. So person A could definitely be sort of really confused with a lot of thoughts and then how they feel. Like there could be lots of contradictions like this. I feel very intensely this way, but then my mind's telling me something else. So something feels right, but what is my intuition? What's my fears? What is right? What is logical? Where's their boundaries? Do I understand myself? And am I really connected to myself? And so I do feel like A could be anywhere on a sliding scale of working through depression or, isolation, or being like on their own, really like periods of introspection so that they could find a form of balance and really having to understand how to nurture themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And so I keep getting drawn to the twins. And so some of you guys might resonate as being on a twin flame journey with this pile here, because I am seeing these twins. Okay. And so this could really be both of these people are sort of heavily influencing each other to make these dramatic connections to their own self so that they could expand spiritually and grow and connect to themselves in different ways that they might have not have been able to. I do feel a very nurturing energy from pile or from person A. It does feel like a divine feminine energy. Okay, it doesn't have to be sun, moon, rising, or Venus in Cancer, Gemini, but these are signs that are pulling through here. Okay, also very connected to family, to love, to friendship, but I feel like it's all about learning about unconditional love of self and unconditional love for another through compassion. Okay, and then obviously not getting lost in the mind stories and then getting very scattered. And so, yeah, and checking their intention, you know, like where are they getting their intentions from and why? And so for person B, I feel like there's a depth to person B that goes for miles. I just heard here, but I do feel like there's a lot of trouble lurking around the corner, meaning there's a lot of things that person B might have been putting off and not wanting to accept or see within themselves out of a reaction to just protect themselves from opening up Pandora's box. Because I do feel like there's a lot of childhood stuff or experiences or past life, generational wounding, whatever you want to call it, that has created a lot of shadow within person B. And I think person B has been finding a way to manage and skirt around having to do this. And so I do feel like person B was getting pretty good at navigating comfortably for themselves exactly where they wanted to be and how they wanted to be. I do feel like person B is sort of a different sort of character here with this Aquarius. So they could definitely be eccentric or just very different. You know, they might not like to follow tradition and tradition and that sort of thing. So they could be a free spirit. They could be very much about their own autonomy and independence and freedom of the people. They might even have certain causes that they fight for, like human rights or environmental causes and humanitarianism type stuff that they support. I do feel like person B might even be somebody here who has thought that they really fully understood themselves. And it's coming through that when they met person A, they might have generalized or like thought they pegged person A as one sort of understanding. And they could have wrote off person A or at least just like assumed that they knew what person A was about. And so I feel like person B could have definitely been dismissive or rejected person A or made person A feel like they were being rejected. Because I do feel like person B might have just been more interested in what they had going on with their world, like very self-focused. You know, and with this Capricorn here, I feel like they might have a one mission thing. So if it's like their religion or their family cause or that humanitarian thing that they're doing, or they're trying to have growth in one area of their world or some investment that they energetically believe in that sort of encapsulates who this person is and gives them soul food. This is what this person's been focused with and focused on and committed to for quite some time. But I do feel like it was either getting boring or it was a cover up here, like I said, because I do feel like there is, you know, there's this cause or whatever, or this identity or this story, which is absolutely fine. But I feel like it's masquerading as something more honorable than the truth, which the truth is that person B can't be avoidant, because I feel like there's an avoidant energy that comes through that's like, you know, maybe connecting isn't for me, or emotions aren't for me, or love's not for me, or relationships not for me, or like exploring a connection of with romance isn't really my thing, or won't be what I need. And telling ourselves this sort of thing. So I feel like there's been a lot of trying to suppress, push back, avoid, deny, and all of this. And so their action could have been showing one energy here of disinterest, but I feel like there was this true authentic self that was underneath all of this Pluto energy that was longing to be connected to. And I feel like with all of this intense energy that person A has here, with this watery energy and this dreamy, intuitive energy and this connecting on this spiritual, soulful level, that they pierce through person B's Pluto energy to tap into this authentic need to be felt on a soul level very deep. And so I feel like person B does feel person A. And it's also very scary at the same time, because with this deep, intense sort of realization comes the fact that person B has to deal with the Pluto side of themselves, which is all of this shadowy side of their traumas and all of this egoic way that person B might have been coping. Because I do feel like there's an ego here of trying to utilize their story and their identity of who they created themselves to be as like the right thing. And it's very self-defeating, and also it's not allowing this person to grow anymore. In fact, it's taking away and robbing this person the ability to love deeply. I do feel like there's an energy here of person B being very steady. They could be very consistent, even if they're avoidant, it's like they're consistently inconsistent, with their energy or however they engage, because I do feel there's a spontaneous energy that comes through, but it's like you can trust that this person is going to be the same sort of energy throughout, because they are fairly consistent. And I do feel like they really want a form of stability and security for themselves, but how they define it, I think, is what might be the challenge here, because they might have painted connection as something that is not good or limiting themselves somehow, but it's the types of connections that they might be thinking or that they might have experienced that might have created this sort of indifference in them. And so I do feel like there is a side of person B that might even seem a little bit power hungry. So they might really like control. They might want to assert their dominance. I don't feel like person B is the type of person that would, allow anyone to sort of control them, but they might see control as just even compromising or like sharing or opening up. It's like they might be very threatened. It's like, no, that's mine, or this is my identity, my freedom, and my rights, and my, and absolutely they have all the freedoms and the rights. But I feel like the threatening energy here is a defense mechanism where person B sort of acts in a certain way because they want to, not be sort of held back or chained down. And so they really appreciate their freedom here. And I do feel, though, for person B, if they were to fully commit and tell themselves that person A was sort of the direction in which they wanted to move towards, that I do feel like person B would be in it for the long term, very committed. And they're all also very committed to working through a lot of their challenges once they see them and acknowledge them. Because I feel like one thing about person B is truth and honesty. And so I do feel like if person B sees the truth about themselves, I don't feel like person B would be the type to deny it or be so, like in denial of certain truths. It's like once they see it, I feel like person B's like the type of person who would do the honorable thing, who would have to address certain egos, challenges, and beliefs, but they have to see it unfold in front of them and sort of the contradictory sort of results. And so if they act in one way and they get a certain outcome, and it happens to be the pattern, then they have to see through this. And so this is why this connection might be going very slowly, because I feel like patterns are having to be seen in order for them to be sort of understood and then deconstructed. And so I do feel like without seeing it, person B wouldn't just buy it. And so if person A is just sort of wanting person B to understand or see or get some sort of insight. It's like, no, person B needs to experience it, and maybe it goes through pain and disappointment and sadness and losing, losing this connection, or losing an opportunity, or losing the positive aspects of certain things before they awaken to what they could be missing out on. And it's like they might think that they have it figured out, only to find out that they were clinging to a story of what they thought was right, or what they thought they knew to be right. And so I feel like person B is being asked to sort of work through, or is working through, tweaking or realigning or course correcting their energy towards productive spiritual growth, self-growth, and healthy growth that isn't limiting and boxing out any of their other areas of growth, like spiritual and even health, because I do feel like there might be some destructive patterns, habits, vices that person B might be involved in here that has been destructive to their growth. So they could overwork or overparty or overdrink, or just be very isolated because they're, maybe a homebody, or just really removed from the dating scene, or really focused on certain thing with all of their energy and at the expense of anything else. And so there's a need to find balance here. But I do feel like there is this energy of what their authentic self is sort of craving and wanting, that is felt when person A is sort of in person B's vicinity, but their 3D self is sort of engaged in maybe a contradicting way. And so I feel like this might cause confusion with A, because A might sense, because they are very much in this 5D realm and this telepathy and this energetic spiritual realm, feeling the 5D-ness of person B. Okay, the 5D energy that's not spoken, but it's more felt. And so because they're very empathetic here, they're coming through as an empath. It's like they could sense all of the stuff that's kind of unspoken. And so it could be very confusing when person A doesn't see and doesn't hear, and is having to sort of navigate with their intuition what is accurate, or where they're going even, without maybe letting fear or doubt get in their way, or their past pains dictating how they act. Because again, they could get very, like I said, go in spirals of like depression or moodiness, or like reacting out of very intense sort of emotional places that need healing or need to be looked at through a period of time as well. So I do feel like this connection is potentially moving at a snail's pace here, or I guess a turtle's pace, but I feel like it's divinely protected, and it is standing the test of time here, because the turtle does talk about endurance and longevity, protection. Okay, so I definitely feel like this connection is heavily protected as it goes through this energy. And so we have Pisces as well with Neptune here, and we have Scorpio here with the Pluto. Okay, but let's take a look at some guidance then for pile number 3. What is the guidance for pile 3? Now, if you guys resonated with this reading, like I said, there will be an extended, where we'll kind of look at, the current sort of feelings, and we'll take a look at the subconscious, seeing the whys, the hows. Will things change in this connection anytime soon? Okay, like what's actually going on between these two, and get a more in-depth look at the feeling. But if you're not going to join us there, and just trust that you got everything you need from this reading, okay, you're not going to miss out on anything. If you can't join us there, then that's fine. Just for those of you guys who are needing a little bit more regarding this reading. So Spirit, some guidance, some advice for beautiful pile number 3. What is the guidance and the advice for pile number 3? So we have Mataki, celebrate. It's time to celebrate and dance for joy. Wow, I'm getting a 4 wands energy from this, and a 3 cups. So if there's been a separation here, I do feel there's a reconciliation here. Okay, if you're wanting a reconciliation, is definitely promised here with this celebrate. But I do feel like these two could definitely have a good time together. This is talking about a reconciliation between these two, and really enjoying each other's company. Okay, so we have turkey tail with blockage. Focus on building your energy to push through obstacles within and outside yourself. So we definitely saw that with both energies. Okay, like the blockage here would be obviously person B really working through a lot of their shadow and stories of identity that they use to protect themselves and avoid looking at certain painful spots within self. And I feel like this blockage for person A has been being very disconnected potentially from, their heart space when it comes to grounding themselves and bringing their heart and their mind into balance here, because the big blockage would be them escaping, or them just being very disconnected and removed and not being able to bring things into reality here and work through the blocks in their emotional body with emotional self-mastery. So we have the ghost mushroom with shine. Wait until the time is right and then shine as bright as you can. So I do feel like it's talking about divine timing. And I do feel like there's something very positive about this connection, something very bright, something very to be celebrated, very much like a divine union here that is being recognized by spirit. But it is coming through as divine timing, and there will be a time when this connection can shine. But it is more about the individual obstacles and pushing through those before these two can work through the blockages that they've had together. Because together, I feel like it could be like oil and vinegar, or oil and water, creating challenge until they're balanced so that they could come together and flow. So beautiful pile number 3. If you guys were wanting to join for the extended, then I will put that information below. Now, if you are leaving us here, I do want to thank you guys for all of your likes, comments, subscribing, and of course, as a thank you, I will be offering 25% off of all merchandise at prairievintagejewelry.com, including readings as a thank you. And so that information will be available below for you guys. And I'd like to thank all of you guys who have been donating on a regular basis. I love you guys very much, and I will see you guys at the next one. Bye-bye.